Hello, friends. Today I have invited
Uh,
Joseph for recording the podcast on how he became data analyst, and he will share his journey. What are the struggling phases he has gone through, and what are the happiest things he has came through. Let's start the podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, thank you by the way for having me. My name is Chukwujoku Joseph. I know it's full, right? But most people call me Jex, so like Jeks. It's a very short form. It's still kind of like the same name, so you can just call me Jex, so you don't forget the long names. I'm from Nigeria, and I came into the UK in 2022 to study for my master's in data science, and
Okay.
I currently work as a data analyst with Ubisoft as we speak. Um, yeah, that's it
Okay.
for now.
How you got your first job?
Oh yeah, so it's kind of like tricky, right? I think my case is a case of luck. Um,
Okay.
Yeah, but then I can only say the things I did that led to that. I was only a student when I got my first job. So I was doing some internships, boot camps and kind of like trainings coupled to the data science master that I was doing. So, but then I was doing these things and then I was posting it on LinkedIn and, you know, a recruiter saw me and liked the work. And and they wanted to work with me on a project. But then along the line, she found out that okay, maybe she can take me on a part-time, even though I was still a student. So I kind of like joined the company as a part-time student
Okay.
because of the things I was posting on LinkedIn. So why I needed to add that is for people to know that I wasn't just on my own and
Yes.
then the job team. I was out there, showing myself, being visible, and then
Yes.
that's how I got the job.
Okay.
But after that, as a part-time, when like my part-time I was about to to end, then luckily a position came out in the same company and then I applied.
Okay.
And this time around, I now got it as a full-time data analyst in the same company.
Okay. Then, when you are posting on social media, it helped you to get your job somewhat
Uh,
easier.
exactly. It's very important to showcase yourself, to be visible. I just came out from a podcast into this one, and I shared this same thing, which um, is wanting to know a skill and to have a skill, to be very good at it. But it's another to let others know that you are good in them, which is also very, very important, especially in this time and age where it is important to showcase yourself and let people know that you know it.
Ah, yes, that is correct.
Led to that. And also because when you are in a good place, you will see people that will push you to motivate you to keep doing what you are doing because sometimes maybe temperament or so, there are a lot of things that can affect you as a person. Maybe you're not extroverted or you are always inside, so maybe your temperament, so some of these things can be all factors, but then you can begin to take the baby step. There are different ways to be visible. It can be by likes and comments and posts. Even if you think you're going to talk rubbish, say it. Let
Yes.
people see you. Yeah,
Okay.
so kind of like once you bridge that gap and be
Yes.
very confident, then you begin to sell yourself out there and people begin to see you, and then you can then begin to sell your skill to
Ah,
people.
okay. And what motivated you to do masters in data science?
Thank you. It's a very good question. So this I've said this several times in different platforms on different platforms. Um, you know, COVID year when COVID struck, right? We're all at home. That way, back in Nigeria, I was working as a credit analyst. So it's more like how do I translate it? The people that advise you on mortgages and loans and stuff like that. So it's kind of like what we do. So we analyze statements, study statements, and see their credibility before we see if we can give them loan facility. So that's kind of like my job in Nigeria. And when COVID struck, we're all at home. That was the beginning of what we see as a new normal, right? So we saw that there is a possibility to work from home. Oh my God. And every day I'm going to work. I know how much I would distance from my house to my work back then. And so I saw that so that's when I started picking up skills, learning. I started from the free courses I could see online, like how to become a data analyst. Is on LinkedIn Learning. I don't know if it is free now. There were different courses, on Coursera, Data Camp that I was taking then. So I was building these skills, I was learning these skills, but then it got to a point I felt like, I think I should do this with my master's because at this level I have I have seen the possibilities and then I liked it, right? I thought that it's something I like and that I think I can do well. Mind you, I was coming from a non-tech background. What that means is I never studied anything about IT or anything. I never knew about Python, anything. No. So so for you to see, it was a huge transition for me. But then, because of those little baby steps that I took in learning those courses online, it fueled my motivation to go and do it in master. So it's one of the things that motivated me, and also because of the fact that I think I consider UK to also be one of the best places to have your masters as at the time, right? So it's kind of like everything kind of like worked together all for me. So that's how I got into getting to do my masters. By the way, I did my masters with TISA University.
It's great to hear. Okay. You can describe your master's degree in simple words, what you did and how you gone through the all projects
Yeah,
and
so
assignments with your friends.
very good. I like this question, particularly because it makes me to relive my moments in school. So when I started, so in very simple words, I would say from a novice, beating the fears and telling myself that I can do it. Because like I said, I came from a non-tech background into environment that is surrounded by tech people and those who may have worked in tech industries for years before coming to do their master. So you can see that kind of little intimidation that one can sense. But then I told myself, calm, start from the basics. You don't know this, so go down to the ground zero and pick up. So and in doing that, I was very desperate. What that means is I could go, I could learn from anywhere, I could learn from anyone because I don't know it. That's the first thing I told myself. I do not know this, so I need to learn. And for me to learn means I need to drop pride and self-preserve and everything just to learn it. I could go to both big, both small, both thin, both fat, and say, "Oh, I don't know this. Can you help me with this?" I could learn anywhere. I dwelt on YouTube videos. Some of the things they teach. I go back to YouTube to see if I can see a content on that. By the way, that's what led me to. I mean, at some point, I had to grow my own channel, having to have benefited from YouTube channels and most of the skills that I know, I learned it free on YouTube. So part of why I don't know if it's even okay to say this, yeah, but it's part of why I also at some point said, okay, I'm gonna give back to the society. But back to what I'm saying is I started from ground zero. I started learning, started picking up skills, and in learning, it grew my confidence. I saw the change. I saw what I was able to do. I saw what I could then do. So it kind of like forward everything, and then I saw the possibilities that you can do this. You are doing this, and you know how it goes from there. So that's kind of like my journey roller coaster. It was more like a roller coaster because I started from someone who didn't know anything to learning from friends from anywhere I can, from any platform I can, even if it means having to pay for it in some cases, right? So these are all the kind of like see it as more like investing in my training and in my learning because I needed to be very good at it. Yeah, so that was kind of like my master's for me. If I don't know anything, I go to the lecturer straight. I'm going to the lecturer's office, I'm asking the questions, I'm getting all my answers. So I was very fearless and courageous when it comes to learning those things that I need to learn in order to survive because it was a new field for me.
Now what are the certifications you have completed in your college?
Yeah, very important to talk about certification because what I've noticed so far is people are so eager, they are so conscious about certification. And I am here to tell you that, like I said, I learned from you. Most of the things I learned from YouTube. This is a place where you learn without any certification, right? Because that is where you get the core skills that you need to survive. That is where you will learn it, right? Now, what certification does is see it as a little validation that you know this. So if you are starting off, certification shouldn't be the main thing for you. Take it from me.
Yes.
Learn the skills, the proper skills first before you talk about certification. So I did everything I did. I wasn't bothered about certification. I wanted to know it. When certification was important for me was when I felt like I have learned this to a very great extent. I
Yes.
think I need certification to add to it in order to prove that I know this. Now, that's two different things. People, first of all, go and get the certification
Ah,
when they don't know it yet, right? Yeah, so which is always, they always think that certification is not the solution to your problem because you can have all the whole certification and still know nothing.
yes.
So, because it's what you know, you are hired based on what you know and not based on the certification, right?
Yes.
So I didn't bother at first about certification. Meanwhile, I was already doing masters in data science. What certification could be more than masters in data science,
Yes, that
right?
is
So
obviously.
yeah, I mean, so I just took my time to pick up the skills from the ground zero to learn the core skills, and then when I've even gotten a job when I wrote my first certification. Yes,
Mm.
I've gotten a job when I got my first major certificate. Certification is good, very good, and it has to be a globally recognized certification. I mean, there are a lot of people these days that market these things and say, come and do data analysis. I'm not saying that they are not helpful. They do. Some of them are very genuine, some are very good, like platforms like DataCamp, stuff like
Ah,
some of
yes,
them are
yes.
very good. Yeah, Coursera and all that. But you see a lot of people misplace the priority. Like I keep saying, the first of all, they, they can even call people to write the exam for them just to get the certification. So, of what use is the certification because they want to show that they have this certification.
Yeah.
So it was when I've gotten a skill that I did, few certification that I felt are important to me and in my role. So you don't just go and do any certification. You have to do certification that is applied to the journey, to where you are going. If you want to build a career path in as a data engineer, for instance, that means I mean, Microsoft has a lot of certification around that. And the way they have made it from Microsoft to learn, all you need is just to select a career path and you see different certifications you can get as to the kind of role you want. We have data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, machine learning. They will tell you the kind of certifications you need. So which I consider to be a globally recognized certification. Another one could be like Google Analytics, Google certification, Microsoft certification. Data Camp is becoming very internationally recognized. You know, um, And these are some of the certifications one can get, and it kind of like shows because do you know why? It, as, for instance, for Microsoft certification, you have to pay. It's not just any. You have to write exam and you have to pay for the exam before you get the certification. So when you have that, people see you as okay, this guy is serious. I mean, he has gotten this certification because people know that it's not what you get easily. It's not. You have to write an exam. And for you to pass the exam means that to a greater extent, you know that. So that's kind of like the certification I would recommend and the ones that I did. So like for instance, I have Microsoft certification for um, Power BI Data Analyst Associates. I have that now twice. And also, I've done some few certifications with some few people like Career Era. I have my SQL with them. I have few projects I've also done with DataCamp. So these are some of the closest thing I could call certification in this regard.
It's great to hear from you the difference between the learning and the certifications importance.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Next, we'll come to what was your ATS score of your resume before you are applying for a job or internship?
Yeah, so in terms of 8 years, right? Like I said, eh, that is because I want to be honest. Because I was already in the company, so it was more like an internal application, right? So I wouldn't tell what the 8 years is from a recruiter point of view, but then what I can say is I have done CVs that I know that hit over 90 plus of 8 years score. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the closest thing I can say in terms of this question because I'm not a recruiter to know what the 8 years score. But then in terms of my CV, yeah, I've done few CVs that hit over 90 plus in 8 years score.
What is the minimum ATS score we need to have before applying our job?
Oh, okay. Well, I think I would say target for the kind of standard I set for myself, maybe target from 80 or 90, right?
Okay.
But then
For
for
fresher
me,
also,
right?
as a fresher, we are applying also, we need to keep 80 to 90. It would be
Yes,
better.
I was yeah, 80 to 90, right? But I can't say it as an expert, right?
Okay.
So I need to study because I'm not a recruiter, right? I can only say what I think, right?
Mhm.
So I think it's a recruiter that will give more context and more expert
Yes.
answer to that. But what I can say to be on the safer side, I would say maybe 80 to 90 plus of score, yes.
Okay. Next question is, what are the questions for asked in data analysis interview?
So I can only judge from my experience, right? When I did my interview, there are different levels of interview, right? So in the UK, for instance, how it- how it- how it's how it goes is there is what they call initial call, which is like the first call the recruiter will call you. Usually it's over the phone or maybe on Zoom like this, or maybe just like a chat. See that as an initial. So what they are trying to do is how you fit in into the job, from a recruiter point of view. So we have recruiter and we have hiring managers, right? That's my understanding about how recruitment works in the UK. So the recruiter will first of all see how fit you are to the job that he or she has advertised, right? So if the person finds you fit, maybe culturally, maybe technically and otherwise, based on your discussion with him or her, then the person moves you up the ladder, right? So in the second interview, which then will involve sometimes it can come in two ways. Remember, the one is just an initial call, so it's not even an interview. The kind of like your first major interview is now to test. So it depends on different companies. Some might start with competence tests or technical tests, Then when you pass that, then you move to professional test where they test your team, your mentality about working, your like your teamwork, your leadership style, your they test every other thing, which in most cases will involve top managers and hiring managers, right? And then, or if it is the other way around, because some people start with cultural fit, while some people make the cultural fit test to be the last one. So it all depends on the recruitment style of the company. But the most things you're gonna get is competent or technical tests. Once you pass that, then you move to cultural fit, which is to see, okay, that's where they begin to ask you um things like how will you handle situations where two managers have asked you to do a project and they need it at the same time? How do you handle such cases? So these are like kind of like to test your professional cultural and how do you handle things, right? So these are like why technical is now interviews based on the skills that is needed for the job. So if it is in a case where it is a job you apply, or maybe a job that requires someone that knows Tableau, right? So in such cases, in technical or competent test, that's where they check your skills. Some might come off as they give you these days, I can confirm from some of my friends that have gone for interviews, what they do these days is maybe they give you a small data set and ask you to maybe do a project on it and present it to them, right? Which can serve as a technical test to test your ability to see how much you apply the skills that is needed. Why some will make it more like as an interview to see they ask you questions, maybe like, tell me what you use to remove null values in Python, something like that. So these are like different ways you could be tested. Everything depends on the recruitment strategies and styles of the company that has advertised for the job. So that's kind of like the things you see in terms of the questions they ask you and the in and kind of like their interview steps. I don't know if that answered the question in the first place.
Next question is, how many rounds are there for the selection process in the Ubisoft in which you are currently working?
Yeah, I think it's basically two rounds, right? In most cases, but then it depends. It could be on the job, it could be on the circumstances surrounding the job, it could be on. So I would say there is a standard, but if I'm to guess, right, if I'm to guess, it shouldn't pass more than two rounds, first and second, and that's it. And in some cases, like I said, the circumstances might just be once,
Yes.
depending. So everything depends on the job, the circumstances, the hiring manager, the recruiters, and everything. But what I would consider to be a standard, not just for Ubisoft, I think in most jobs here in the UK is two rounds. First, this is excluding the initial call because sometimes people add the initial call as interview. No,
Okay.
two rounds, first and second. That's it. After your second interview, you're just ready for. Why some is one, so it's just between one and two rounds, I would say.
Give some best suggestions from your experience to my audience who are looking for becoming data scientist.
So the tips I will add is first of all, if you wanna be a data scientist, you have to be in the right platform so that you can learn from others, see what others are doing, see what data scientists are doing or data analysts are doing, see who they are learning from, where they are learning, how they are also applying it. So these are so the first thing is first of all to be in the right platform, to be in the right environment, which in this case I would say is LinkedIn, depending on the job. Maybe if you are going into film production, maybe LinkedIn might not be that place for you. It might be places like Instagram or maybe TikTok or whatever. But what you are doing depends on the platform, right? So if it is a skill like maybe data or data analyst or data related jobs or professional jobs, You will see them on LinkedIn. So that means is you have to be on LinkedIn, create a profile, be on LinkedIn, be visible, let people see you, connect to the right people, connect to recruiters, and then showcase your skill. So you see what I'm saying? Be in the right platform, connect to recruiters or to the right persons, then showcase your skill. These are the three major things I need you to focus on. And if you do that, I bet you're gonna be in the right league.
Yes, you are exactly. Thank you for giving your most precious time to us.
Always, as
Mm,
always. And you too. And you too. Thank you for having me as well. And I thank you for all you are doing. And um, yeah, so I don't know if there are also, this is just if I have this opportunity to also say that kind of the things I do on my YouTube is also I teach people on data analytics stuff. And
okay,
so if maybe there's anyone that will be interested, they can also check on my YouTube link, which is Jax Analytics. You might also help me to drop it on the description box to
okay.
help them to just see the kind of thing that I would do. So what I do is just I tutor people, I teach on some of these analytical tools like Power BI, Tableau, Excel, and stuff like that. That's kind of like what my channel is all about. And yeah, that's so if there's any challenge, you can always reach out to me as well. And of course, you have my LinkedIn, so you can as well share my LinkedIn with them for those that want to reach out.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.